manage the quality of it before then making it ready for your analytics and business users downstream. So I'm going to get started. I have some workflows here. You can see I have a project running where I'm actually extracting SAP data from an on-premises system. I'm using Qlik's data gateway and change data capture in order to do that. What I can also do is move data between different cloud sources as well. And if I wanted to do that, I could set up some data connections, and you can see here we have a whole bunch of different cloud connectors, and we're continuously adding more, hundreds continuously as part of our connector factory initiative. Now, additionally, the great thing about Qlik data integration is if I have other data movement projects that I'm using other tools for, again, if I'm moving data from on-prem, I might be using Qlik replicate, for example, I can register all those projects here so they're all in one place. So for example, you can see I have another project running where I'm actually using Talon Stitch to move data from Salesforce CRM environment. So let's take a closer look at that. So I can hop into Stitch, I can get some information about that data project, I can understand the data that's being moved, the latency, etc. I can also take a closer look at the overall projects that I'm using Stitch for. So here you can see there's a bunch of different data sources where I'm moving data into Snowflake. Similar to Qlik data integration, if I wanted to start another project, there's a whole bunch of different connectors that I can pull up and use very easily. So a lot of different cloud sources as well. So now that I'm extracting and loading my data, the next step is to apply some push-down transformations, all within Qlik. So I have some transformations running, I'll open those up and we can take a closer look at those as well. So again, these are all the transformations that I have running that I'm applying to that data. And if I open one up, I can see the SQL that's being produced as a result of those transformations. Now, using Qlik, I can use a GUI to help create that SQL for me. If I wanted to, I could also create it myself, copy paste it in, so I have a lot of flexibility there. Additionally, in the settings panel, I have some additional customization and properties that I can elect to turn on or off. For example, I can leverage non-materialized views, so I don't have to create all of those tables. I can also elect to keep a historical data store. So what that does is it enables the transformations to still be applied to the data, but at any time I can go back and look at the historical records, so I have visibility and transparency into the transformations that have been made to that data over time. So I've extracted my data, loaded it, applied some transformations. The next step in the process is to create a data mart so I can have all of that data in an environment that's ready for my downstream users. So the great thing about Qlik data integration is there's a lot of automation capabilities built in that make the process of doing something like creating a data mart very easy, just in a few clicks. So you can see all the data mart creations that I have running over here on the left, and if I want to create a new one, it's really easy. I can just go in, I can select a fact table, apply that, and then all the dimensions that lead up, that are part of it appear here on the right-hand side. So I can simply select those, apply, and now I have my data mart created and ready to go. So I've created this data pipeline, but in order to ensure it's really useful for my business users, I want to make sure that it's high quality as well. So this is where that integration between Qlik and Talon's tools come into play, and I can leverage Talon's data quality to check the quality of the data that I'm making available to those users. So here I'm in the Talon interface. I can make some selections and hone in on some specific data sources that I want to take a look at. And as I start to look over here at my different data types across data sources, I can see that overall the validity scores are pretty high, but this one here on the census first names is a little low relative to the rest. So I can start to drill down into that, and it looks like some customer data from Salesforce. I can start to get some additional information and see what's going on. So if I scroll down, I can see that I already have some transformations running on that data. So I can open up and take a look. And the great thing is, again, I can look back all the way over time, see all the different transformations that have been historically applied to this data. So for example, if I look at the most recent one, it was to remove some trailing and leading characters or spaces, just to clean up some of the spaces on the data. I can see where that was applied to. But remember, I want to take a closer look at what's going on with those first names. So if I select that and I select, I can drill in specifically to the invalid values. And it shows me all the fields where that data isn't meeting the quality threshold or the quality standards. And if I take a quick look, it looks like that's probably because they're all in caps. You can see the first names are all in all caps. So I can actually make a change to that really easily, but I also want to loop in the last names too, because while we're here, might as well make sure that all the names are cleaned up correctly. And I can go over to the right-hand side, and what that's called is a title case change. So I can simply select that, Talent Data Quality will apply that to the data, it goes ahead and makes the fixes, and you can see that those fields disappear because they're no longer invalid. So if I clear the filter, you can see that all my data pops up again. So that's a really easy way that I can go in, get the trust score of my data, understand, take a look at the quality, and make some adjustments if I need to. But as a next step, I really want to make sure that that trust score and that information is also available to other downstream business and data professionals that are working with that data. So in order to do that, I can move over to Qlik Application Automation, which is a really great low-code, no-code tool that enables users to build workflows between all different cloud sources, all different cloud applications. So in this case, if I scroll down, you can see that I've taken the trust score and I'm creating a workflow that pushes that trust score information to a couple different places. First, I'm sending it to the Snowflake environment where that data is going so that users there can get more information about the quality of that data. I'm also sending it to QlikSense actually, so that there's an app, so that my business users can really get more transparency and do some more exploration around the overall trust, completeness, and validity of that data. So let's actually take a look at QlikSense, that QlikSense app, and see what that looks like. So again, we're using some customer data, some order data, so this is what a dashboard of that quality could look like. So my fulfillment data, for example, looks really good. Completeness score of 95% rather. My billing data is looking pretty strong. There's a little bit, it looks like there might be some weaknesses in my receivables. So that's something I could do a little bit more analysis, a little bit more digging on to find out, is there something going on with my source systems, my transaction systems? There might be something there I can take some action on to clean up that data a little bit. So that's a really quick overview of how using Qlik data integration and the new talent capabilities. There's a whole lot you can do around the creation of that data pipeline. Again, moving data between a variety of different sources, between on-premises and cloud, applying those transformations, creating the data mart, and ensuring that the quality is completely up to business standards and made accessible to those business users. And a lot of automation is involved, so we've made it very quick and very efficient. So Josh, I'll pass it back to you.